All right. Welcome back, everybody. All right, this is a new series, guys. We're going to call this one ZaxoDrama #1. Welcome, everybody. I started this a minute ago, but we had a Amazon truck that came in front of the house and had a delivery. So I went ahead and decided just to go ahead and start over. And welcome back, guys. Welcome to a new series. This all comes to me through the suggestion of a friend who has been following my channel for quite some time. So I want to go ahead and thank him for giving me this suggestion. And she thinks that me, instead of making like my Ask Zax videos where I respond to emails, he thought people would be more entertained if I was simply to go to the Reddit website and read about relationships and try to find some of the more spicy or interesting, posts by people. So what I'll try to do with this is I'll try to read current posts that are pretty, current here, and we will do this live, and probably not too long, somewhere between maybe 30 minutes and an hour per stream, and let you guys start watching, let you guys start reacting as I read some of this online relationship drama. Now, I never even knew there was posts on Reddit about relationships until he pointed this out to me. So I want to go ahead and thank her for the idea, and something that I've been considering, I don't know, 2 or 3 days now since she told me about it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about, guys, some of the posts here on Reddit and see how this goes. So if you're not here watching live and commenting live, be sure you comment down below if you're watching this live stream at a later point in time. Let me know what you think of the posts, and what your thoughts are as well. So you're going to hear my reactions to the post, what I think. I'll ask you guys, I'll read anybody that comments on the live stream, and then of course we'll let you guys post your comments down below. So this is all new to me, guys. I've never really done anything quite like this. So this is a whole new branch of my Zaxtor99 tree here on YouTube, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so we want to go ahead and stay away from this junk, so I'm not going to be reading any posts about that. But we have 56 comments here in a post just 3 hours old. My boyfriend, a 25-year-old male, so she has a boyfriend that's 25, dug up some old information about me. He's 25 as well. Is this a red flag? All right, that sounds pretty interesting. See what's going on here. Together, 9 months. Yeah, so I'm not sure if this is like a huge red flag that I'm oblivious to, or if I'm just overreacting. Now she's going to spill this all out right here on Reddit. Isn't it amazing what people will spill out to the whole world on Reddit? Okay, so let's go ahead and read this. So when I was 12 years old, I was kidnapped by my stepfather at the time. I always use quotes when I say that because it wasn't like a crazy, violent, scary situation. And I don't want to take away from my real I don't want to take anything away from real kidnapping victims. My stepdad was mad at my mom, picked me up from school, and we went on a vacation. Literally nothing happened except I ate too much saltwater taffy and I threw up. We went to the carnival, he got me some stuffed animals, and we slept in a ratty motel for 4 days. He was arrested, and I really didn't even understand how serious it was until I was older. Now, at that time, my family really shielded me from everything, didn't ever use the word kidnapping, and just told me that my stepdad was not allowed to take me like that, and that now he's in trouble for it. That made sense to me. My family and I have a good relationship, and the incident didn't really affect me. I share that story to close friends because it's kind of crazy and interesting. I guess I shared it with my boyfriend. He thought it was interesting and thought that was the end of that. Then, like a week later, he texted me an article he found, which was the details of my stepdad's arrest, and says, "Dude, you were for real. That's messed up." Yeah, I was for real. Why would I make that up? Anyway, I was kind of annoyed by this. This was also not hugely publicized, since nothing bad happened. So I must have taken him a long time to Google my hometown, my name, my situation, and he knows my stepdad's first name. Is this just inappropriate or just like whatever? Too long didn't read. Was mildly kidnapped as a child. I'm fine. I told my boyfriend. He seemed to believe me at the time, but then he later texted me an article of my stepdad's arrest with the message, "Dude, you were for real. This is messed up." It irked me. Like, I'm not sure if this is a red flag. Should I be concerned or let it go? All right, welcome Tempo. How you doing, Kessels? Welcome, guys. We're reading stories here, and I'm going to go ahead and react to this 25-year-old girl who's writing about her boyfriend. So basically, she tells her boyfriend here after 9 months, or 9 months of dating, she tells him about a time when she was kidnapped by her stepfather for 4 days. He took her to a ratty hotel, and I guess he kidnapped her because he was fighting with her mother at the time. Not that big of a deal. I mean, I can understand how he probably got in a lot of trouble for doing that because, I mean, her mother and her family's probably worried sick about, what he could be doing with her. Where he could be. He could be traveling across the country. He could be hurting her. He could be, molesting her or all kinds of things. So I can certainly understand why her stepdad got in trouble. I mean, that's a big no-no. You don't take kids as like a pawn in a relationship. And I know that a lot of people use kids in different ways as pawns against the other person, against the other parent in a relationship, and there's a lot of ways that people do that. But kids are never a pawn to be used against somebody else. And people need to realize this. I mean, it happens all the time. I guarantee you it happens probably hundreds of thousands of times in the USA in relationships and marriages. It happens all the time. Kids are used as pawns, as a fighting tool, as a way to attack, a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend. And to me, that's really sad. But anyway, we have this girl, 25 years old, in a long relationship. 9 months is a pretty long relationship, I'd say. And she tells her boyfriend about being kidnapped by this guy and being held 4 days and, in this hotel, and that she's fine. Nothing big of it. So I can say that, she thinks it's like a red flag. She's asking if it's a red flag. And as a guy myself, I can say I don't think this is really a red flag. I think this shows concern by your boyfriend. First of all, he may want to verify it. He may want to verify that you're telling him the truth. And I don't know whether he looked it up to verify if you told him the truth or not. But he might also be wondering, well, what happened to your stepdad? I want to go online and see if I can find out, is he okay? Is he dead? Is he in prison still? Is he remarried? Maybe he's wanting to gather some information because he took a genuine curiosity in what happened in your life. He comes back and tells her, dude, you were for real. This is messed up. I mean, there's really no point in coming back and saying this is messed up when it's 20 years later or almost 20 years later or whatever. It's not like he has to have a relationship with her stepdad. I don't think. If he did have to have a relationship with her stepdad, it doesn't say that here. So I really don't think there's a big reason why he would, look this up and say that's messed up, unless he just didn't really believe her. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here, is that maybe he didn't really believe that happened to her. And I do know that from my own dating experience, and I have quite a bit of it, I do know that a lot of ladies, I don't know if they all make up stories, but a lot of ladies have some pretty crazy stories out there about how they were a victim in some way, form, or shape from either somebody in their family or a random stranger, or they were attacked or, taken advantage of at a young age. It's a very common story that I seem like I got, it seemed like there for a while when I was dating, when I was young, it seemed like every girl I dated, on a first date, would tell me some big, really, emotional or sad story about how their father had done this, or their brother had done this, or, some other man in a alley had done something to them. It was pretty common. And, I certainly can understand how men could, maybe not believe all these stories that they hear uh, from their girlfriend and maybe want to verify it, maybe want to see if it checks out, maybe want to see if they can learn to trust their woman by verifying such details, especially if the woman tells you something and there's some kind of a red flag that pops up, like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like maybe they say something and it doesn't quite jive with what makes sense. Then I could definitely understand him going to the internet and saying, okay, wait a minute, is she really telling me the truth? Did this really happen? Is she exaggerating or whatever? And that would kind of make sense for him coming back and saying, dude, you were for real. This is totally messed up. I mean, the way she worded that about what he said really makes it sound like he kind of wanted to verify that she was telling him the truth, and not just looking, making up some kind of a poor me pity story or whatever. So, no, I don't think that's a red flag. I think it's horrible that your stepfather did that to you. If I'm talking to the 25-year-old lady who wrote this, but I wouldn't be angry at your boyfriend at all. Maybe he could have done something a little bit better, and he said, "Hey, do you mind if I look that up? I want to see what I can find out." That probably would have been a better way for him to approach that, rather than going and looking it up behind her back and then coming back and saying, "Wow, that's messed up." I think it probably would have been better on his part if he would have said, "Hey, let's look online and see what we can find, and maybe do it with her." Even if he did have doubts about what she's saying or whatever, I just still think that would be a better way for him to approach it. Say, "Wow, let's look up some information and see what we can find out about that," and kind of see how she reacts to it, kind of see if she's comfortable with that, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I think about that one. That one wasn't super spicy or anything like that, but that is my reaction to the first Reddit relationship post that I read. So I'm doing well, Tempo. Thanks so much for being here, man. But what do you guys think about that, if you guys are still here? All right, so let's just see what a couple of these other people saying. Curiosity, I'm betting. Ask him about it. Compare the details he found online to your recollections and discuss it together. Yeah, maybe, exactly. Maybe he just wants to understand you better. Exactly. I take it as a good thing. I wouldn't take it as a red flag. And this guy, this person here says definitely not red flag material. Are you saying that if someone you'd met and were getting to know told you a crazy, interesting story about the time they were kidnapped, that you wouldn't go out curiously into Google and see what came up? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take that as a red flag at all. I mean, you told him a kind of a crazy story, and he wants to learn more about, an obviously very emotional, very crazy thing that happened to you in your past. So definitely not. I agree. Definitely not red flag material. So let's go back and let's see what else we can find here, guys. Ooh, this one looks pretty spicy as well. 381 comments on this one. This is an update. Okay. 7.7 thousand views. Wow, some of the stuff. So this was posted originally yesterday. Husband, so this is another woman writing in. Husband, 35, lying about a friendship with a female friend, former coworker. Okay, let's go ahead and read the original post, because here's the original post. And then we'll go back to the update. All right, here we go. So this is what was posted almost a week ago. Oh, this is a long one. I'm sorry in advance. My husband, 35, and I, who am 31, have been married for 5 years this fall. We dated for 5 years prior to that, so she's been with him a total of 10 years. Last summer, I was working from home on our shared laptop. Initially, the laptop was for my husband's MBA, so it was all linked to his Apple account items. His messages would occasionally pop up in the corner, and I always ignored them. I've never been the type to snoop. On this particular day, however, a former coworker who was also 25, okay, so she's quite a bit younger, 10 years younger than her husband and 6 years younger than her. This coworker, who had left his office recently, was texting him nonstop. I ignored it until a text popped up that said, "I miss you so much." Oh boy. That's not good. And so she's married to this guy, and all of a sudden he's getting a message from a coworker that used to work there saying, "I miss you so much." I immediately clicked. I felt guilty, but I was totally weirded out that another woman would say that to him. Thus began an afternoon of me scrolling back for several months of text messages, reading the conversations. I know, it was shitty. There was nothing sexual. There was nothing overtly suggestive. However, there was clearly a closeness and a shared intimacy there, kind of like a clear flirting. They were obviously eating lunch off campus together every single day, saying a lot of stuff like, "I thought we should tell each other everything, and you're my favorite lunch buddy." He had even told her about her leaving the company had hit him especially hard and got very emotional with her about it. Texting started as soon as they got to work and generally continued through the evening after he was home. That's not good. As guilty as I felt for snooping, I had this knot in my stomach. Also not good. One thing I can tell you guys, don't let anybody ever deceive you. If you're going out, or if you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship and you start getting a really gut-wrenching, like it feels like your stomach is tying itself in knots, like something's wrong, maybe they're telling you a lie, or they're not being genuine or honest with you, or you just maybe have that knot in your stomach, like something is seriously wrong about what they're telling you or what they're doing, that is a very, very, very big red flag, and it should be. So never let anybody tell you that your gut instinct is wrong, or your gut instinct is lying to you, blah, 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 blah. Trust your gut instinct. That's all I can tell you guys. I've had my gut instinct for my life, and more often than not, it's right on. And I can tell you, sometimes people will tell you, "Oh, it's just because you don't trust me," or "Oh, it's just because this or that." But more often than not, your gut instinct is tying itself in knots for very good reasons. And sometimes it senses things, your body senses things, your subconscious senses things, I think, to kind of help with that. And maybe your mind doesn't want to believe what you're seeing or what might be true. And so you logically try to excuse the person. You try to listen to them saying, "Oh, it's just because you don't trust me, take time, you'll trust me better later on," or whatever. So logically, because you love the person, or because you're married to the person, or whatever, you want to go ahead and rationalize those excuses, and you don't want to listen to your gut just tying itself in knots. But more often than not, guys, trust your gut instinct. If your gut instinct is going nuts about something being wrong, or something being out of place, or maybe them cheating on you or whatever, more often than not, your gut instinct is right. So, I'm not saying for you to basically break up a marriage or break up a relationship just because you have a bad gut instinct, but it's definitely time to get to the bottom of some stuff, and have a long talk with your partner for sure. So yeah, we have a couple of big red flags. I mean, he's finding conversations that are going from the start of his workday until the evening hours after he gets home from work. She feels guilty for snooping, but she had a big knot in her stomach. She said she had met this girl 2 or 3 times. My husband, who started to mention her more and more over the past year, that's another big sign. To the point that I know all about this girl's dating life, her upbringing, her professional aspirations, etc. So that's another big sign. If you're living with somebody, or you have a spouse, and they come home, like it seems like almost like every day or every other day or whatever, 2 or 3 times a week, talking about somebody they're working with, or laughing at their jokes, or laughing about how funny they were, or whatever, that's also a red flag. Yeah, you might want to make sure that this person is just a coworker, or just a friend, because if somebody's coming home talking about them all the time, they're probably more than that. So I've seen this before. I've experienced this kind of stuff before, guys. So I've had a lot of relationships in my life, and none of this stuff sounds very good to me. So she says I had expressed to him previously that I was a little worried, or a little bit weirded out, about him and this girl being a bit too friendly. Exactly. It wasn't even a fight. I just mentioned it. He was totally cool and said they were never alone together. They never took, so there's a lie, never took lunches together, he says, and only talked to her because she was friends with a guy that he shared his office with. There had been an instance the year prior where he went to a bar for a WC match and took like 2 times longer than he said he would. and didn't mention that this girl and another girl from work would be meeting him and his buddy. He only found out because the other girl posted it on his social media. She wasn't mad about it, but she told him that's the kind of thing that's worth mentioning beforehand. Yeah, so she's married, and she's kind of, this is what I'm saying, she has these red flags popping up, but she's wanting to give her husband of 5 years the benefit of the doubt. She has these red flags popping up, like, him not mentioning that he's going to a bar and staying there twice as long as what he's saying with a coworker. And, why is it that he failed to mention that he was going to meet her at the bar? You know, big questions. So after reading all these conversations, I decided to confront him. I let him know what I had done. So after she reads all the stuff about all the conversations her husband and this coworker had from, day after day after day, from morning until night, she confronts him. I let him know what I'd done, that she snooped, and owned that I was wrong to snoop and violate his privacy. And I sincerely meant it. And then let him know that the conversations had made me incredibly uncomfortable. He was pissed. Exactly. Of course he's going to be pissed. Because you just caught him. You just busted him for something that he didn't want you to ever find out. He was pissed, defensive, and tried to make it all about me doing the snooping. We fought about it for a while, and he finally seemed to get it. He said he felt bad, and it was never his intention to make me feel bad, and that it was a platonic friendship, and that it wasn't going to last since she had left the company anyway. He apologized, I did too, and asked that he withdraw himself from that situation. Okay, so this is already bad. I can tell you that whenever you're in a relationship, because I've been here, guys, whenever you're in a relationship and your gut instinct is going nuts about something being wrong, and maybe you just simply ask, hey, are you seeing somebody else? Are you spending your time with somebody else? This or that, because something's wrong. And what you get in return is attacks on you. Like, you get super defensive stuff where, the person blames, your ex-partners, because you don't trust them, or they blame you for not trusting them. For after all this time together, you can't trust me. I can't believe in you. So basically, if they point those fingers at you when you bring up something like this, like what we're reading about, or when your stomach is going in nuts about, something going wrong, then more often than not, the person is getting defensive and pointing their finger because they've been busted. You're basically onto them, whether it be your gut instinct or whether it be, you rationalizing and saying, hey, are you seeing somebody else? Or you coming up with something like this and saying, hey, I read through these conversations. You were talking to this person, from morning until night, day after day after day. What's going on here? You're supposed to be married to me. This is just bad. How you doing, Shonda? Welcome back. I haven't seen you in a long time, girl. So we are reading online drama, and we have a lady here who got a message on her husband's laptop while she was on his laptop, and there was messages popping up from work, and she wasn't really concerned about them until she saw that one particular coworker of his, a lady 10 years younger than him, he's 35, the wife is 31, and this coworker's 25. And she had met this coworker a few times, and she'd already had her husband come home talking about this girl all the time, so much so that she pretty much knew her whole life. And yeah, that's crazy. So we have 3 viewers right now. Welcome, everybody. So she finds this message pop up, and it says that I really miss you. She's telling her husband that she really misses him. And so she decides at that point to go in and snooping. So she's reading all these online conversations on this laptop for the last couple of months, and she finds out that he's been talking to this coworker for months, from basically texting, each other from morning until well after he gets home from work into the evening hours, and that they've been having lunches together every single day. That's not good. That's not good at all. I mean, that would shatter my trust for my spouse right there. I am doing pretty good, Shonda. All right. So she confronts him. He gets mad, And then finally he says, I understand, I get it. She's leaving anyway. She's not going to be working there anymore. If he's been having an online relationship or an online friendship with this gal, even though there's not a lot of sexual innuendo or anything like that, and you're reading into it that they're getting pretty close, even though there's not sex talk or anything like that, that still doesn't mean that his heart's not with her. And all I'm going to say right now before we continue reading this is, like, even if she leaves the company, his heart's still going to be, with her. He's going to be wondering how she's doing, if she's found a new job, this and that, wanting to maybe, he's getting used to these lunches every day with this woman, and it makes me wonder if the wife here in this situation was actually having sit down dinners every day with her husband while he's out having lunches every day with this other lady. Because if she's not sitting down to dinner with him every night and he's out every single day having lunches with this other gal, definitely not a good sign. So anyway, they apologize. They both apologize. She apologizes for snooping. He apologizes for, getting close to his coworker and says it's just a friendship. She's gone anyway. All right, so they're all good. But 2 weeks later, I'm in bed scrolling through Facebook, and in my feed it shows that the girl tagged him in a funny post, making a comment about some inside joke. He had responded back with another joke. I clicked on it. I saw that it's only from a couple of days ago. Uh-oh, that's what we're saying. She asked him to, she asked him to, what is it up here? She asked that he withdraw himself from the situation. Okay? Doesn't sound like he's withdrawing himself from the situation when he's posting on her posts on Facebook. This is another reason I don't like Facebook. This is another reason I don't do Facebook, but hey. Anyway, seemed a bit casual and friendly considering the fight we had, and me expressing that I didn't want the friendship to continue. So he comes to bed, and I tried not to say anything, but I'm sure he felt my anger rolling off me. I immediately asked him if he talked to her since our fight, and he freezes and says no. Now, they talked on Facebook, evidently, but they didn't talk like talk. I show him the post. Oh, she's trying to bust him. Yeah. So, yeah, he obviously talked to her on Facebook and responded to a comment anyway. I don't know if you'd really call that talking to each other, but yeah, you're definitely reacting to each other. I show him the post. He apologizes and says he didn't think that was a big issue and he was just being polite. He swears he has not contacted her at all beyond that. I make it clear at that point I would be more comfortable with zero contact. And he agrees, okay, that's fair, and we go to sleep. But that whole next morning, I just feel off. Remember what I just told you guys about how if your gut's going nuts, if you feel off, if you feel like something's wrong, a huge red flag. You need to listen to that kind of stuff. If you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, and, your stomach's just tying itself in knots, and you really, really, really feel like they're not being honest or something's wrong, more often than not, your stomach, your gut instinct is right on, guys. Now, one thing I can say is that your gut instinct can be turned into knots, and it can cause your mind to overreact. So I do think that your mind can overthink things, and, your imagination can run wild. So, for example, if I was married, right now and I had a lady, and maybe she said, oh, I'm going to go take the neighbor some cookies, right? And maybe there's maybe she said, I'm going to go take all the neighbors around us some cookies. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool of you. And maybe we have a bachelor that lives next door. Just giving you guys an example, right? So maybe she's gone for quite a long time. And I start getting a gut feeling, right? Like, oh man, something's wrong. Like, man, what has taken her so long? And I start getting this gut feeling, right? Well, maybe I start over imagining, and I'm imagining her having, maybe I'm imagining the next door neighbor guy having her back up against the wall and them just going at it, right? Having sex or something like that. So that might be what's going on in my imagination because my gut instinct is going off. So I'm imagining far worse than what it is. But maybe my gut instinct is just going off because he's over there flirting with a guy, or he's over there saying, wow, you look really good, or maybe they're trading swapping some spit. You know, maybe they're kissing. It might not be nearly as bad as what I'm imagining, but still, she's basically cheating. And I'm getting a gut instinct going off because she's cheating. So never ignore your gut instinct, guys. I can tell you that. I can't tell you guys that enough. So anyway, she says the next morning, after this, she finds out about this whole Facebook commenting on each other's, you know, comments or whatever, and joking with each other on Facebook. And he says, okay, no contact. Next morning, she just feels off. She says when he froze before answering, something was up. He had logged out of his Apple account on the computer, so I couldn't check it. But he forgot his watch. So I am that person, and I check his watch. And right there, every day for the past 2 weeks, they've still been talking. She says taking, but I think she means talking here. So right there, every day for the past 2 weeks, they've been talking. Check his watch. And he was the first one to reach out. How is she finding this out from his watch? But he forgot his watch. So I am that person. And I check his watch. And right there, every day for the past 2 weeks, they've been talking. I don't understand. And he was the first one to reach out. The morning after our first fight. Even worse, he had received a major job offer a few days before this while he was still at work. He had called me to tell me, and we were so excited. Well, guess who he texted before he even called me? What? He calls her before he calls his own wife to let her know I got a job offer. Oh man, this is bad. This is bad, guys. I'm starting to feel sorry for this poor lady. The girl I had set to cut off that he claimed he had, that he hadn't talked to in 2 weeks. So when he comes home, and I asked him why he hesitated before answering as to whether he had talked to the girl at all when I asked him the night prior, he just brushed it off. So I asked him if he would be comfortable with showing me proof in his phone. He confidently handed me his phone. And of course, he had deleted everything. So I called him out and told him I had seen everything on his watch. We had a massive argument over it, and again, I had to literally drag the truth out of him. I had to fight tooth and nail to get him to see why this is a major issue. Yeah, if they can't see that what they're doing is wrong and they're just like being super defensive and attacking you and stuff like that, I'd be looking at getting a divorce. I'd be looking for filing the papers. By the next day, we had mostly come to an understanding. He volunteers to block her number and block her on all social media to prove he's not sneaking around. So with that, I gladly accept. Yeah, again, she's trying to make it work because she's been married to the guy for 5 years. She's known him for 10 years. And, I mean, she loves him. So she's trying to make it work. You know, she's doing anything she can to try to make it work. And I can tell you guys, I've been here. I've been right where she is in relationships. You know, you get so into, hey, I've been with this person a long time. I love this person. I just want to do whatever I can to make it work. You know, sometimes you'll even blame yourself. You'll be like, man, maybe it was my fault. Maybe, you know, he's bored with me and that's why he's looking out for other women. You know, he's bored with me. Maybe I'm boring or whatever. You come up with all kinds of excuses to try to excuse your partner from cheating. You know, Shonda says he has an Apple Watch. Oh, and it shows the messages on it. Okay. Yeah, an Apple Watch. See, I don't know anything about these Apple Watches. Yeah, it does say that he has an Apple Watch somewhere. Yep. Okay. So it has all the messages right on it. Wow. All right. Thanks for that, Shonda. All right. So she gladly accepts his apology and his promise to block her on all social media and block her phone number and everything. So he puts in his notice at his current job and starts his new gig. And his coworkers want to throw a happy hour for him and another person who is quitting. I immediately asked about the girl being invited, and he said that she will not show up, even though her office is literally right around the corner. Oh boy. He goes to this happy hour on his last day. He says things are all good. And then on his way home, he called to tell me the girl showed up right at the end, and then he totally avoided her and then bailed within 20 minutes. I don't believe this for a minute. See what happens when you lie to your partner? See what happens when you consistently lie and hide things from your spouse? And this continues to go on. Pretty soon, you have a spouse, you know, if you're lying and hiding stuff, then pretty soon your spouse isn't going to trust you anymore. And that's where she's getting right here. So he tells her, hey, you know, she bailed within 20 minutes. And she says, I don't believe it for a minute. So she's already lost trust for him. And they say that once you lose trust in a relationship, you know, it's pretty much gone. It's going to be so hard for her to ever trust him again. You know, it's going to take years. So here they are, a 5-year marriage. And 5 years before that, she's known this guy for 10 years. And he completely destroys her trust in one friendship at work and with just a couple of lies. You know, literally seconds where he doesn't admit, or he doesn't tell her what's going on, where he doesn't tell her the truth. He's basically destroyed 10 years worth of trust that he built up with this gal. It's freaking sad, man. You got to be careful with this stuff. It syncs up to your phone, Shonda. Man, this is hard to read, guys, because if you've ever been heartbroken yourself, if you ever had a similar situation yourself where you know you've been cheated on, or you know that, you know, a partner, somebody you genuinely love, is lying to you, I'm sure we've all been there. If you guys have dated at all, if you guys have been married at all, if you've played the dating game in your life, chances are you've been here. How you doing? Rock and roll. What's going on, man? Good to see you. So she doesn't believe it for a minute that she came in at the last minute and then he bailed within 20 minutes. So she says, I don't believe it for a minute, but at this point, I have no way to verify if he's being honest. And I am so emotionally done with the whole thing. And I am questioning now if I'm a psychopath or if he's gaslighting me. So exactly, this is what I'm talking about. When you're in these kind of situations and you love somebody so much and you know damn well they're lying, your gut's turning knots, as she's already said, she knows something's off. And, you know, all these red flags are going off and you know that he's full of it. You know he's been cheating on you, but still you start to question yourself. And this is the really sad part of having these relationships, you know, and especially if the other person is telling you stuff like, hey, you know, your trust is bad because of all your bad relationships. They start pointing your finger at other relationships in your life and say, you know, you don't trust me because of this, this, and this, or because of this girl, or because of this person. And they're just pointing their finger saying, well, you don't trust me because of your past relationships. Then you really do start, you know, questioning yourself. You start wondering, she says she's questioning if she's a psychopath at this point. You guys see how what she's writing, how her husband of 10, you know, she's known for 10 years, been married to for 5 years. He's the one out lying and cheating on her. And now she is questioning whether she's a psychopath. It's fucked up. I mean, there's no other word. It's just fucked up. This is on the verge, I would say, guys, of, I mean, obviously this is heartbreaking when it's happening to you. I feel really sorry for this woman. But this, on, in my opinion, is on the verge of like mental abuse. You know, emotional abuse. This is emotionally abusive, right? And the bad thing is that I think in a lot of situations, I haven't read this, guys. I don't know what's going to happen here. But in a lot of these situations, because now she doesn't trust him and now she's going to be watching him, as you would expect her to do, because he's broken her trust, pretty soon she's going to be continuing to watch him and monitor him. And then he's going to cry out about her emotionally abusing him. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he basically points a finger at her and says, you're being emotionally abusive. You're emotionally abusive to me. I have no freedom. You know, that kind of stuff happens all the time. It's just ridiculous, like, how these people that do all the wrong, you know, somehow turn it around on the person that's the true victim. The person that's actually doing all the wrong can turn this stuff around and make it look like they're the victim. So anyway, she's questioning whether she's a psychopath or whether he's gaslighting her. Well, I think we know what's really happening here just from reading what she's wrote. Granted, keep in mind, guys, that there's two sides to every story, but I can definitely feel for this lady that's writing this post. Anyway, we initially discussed going to therapy, but then we're dealing with the insurance change from his job, which I needed to get all squared away to pay for the therapy, and life got busy, and I just totally let it go and just move forward because I couldn't deal with this hanging over us any longer. So she just kind of forgets everything and like, all right, whatever. And then today, he's been working from home on his work issued laptop since COVID started. I haven't ever looked at it or used it, but today he wanted me to proofread something for him while he ran up and showered for a Zoom call. His email was up, and I said the hell with it. I'm not going to read these curse words, guys. I shouldn't have read this word either. But anyway, she says the hell with it and searched for the girl's name and under his sent messages. And of course, he reached out to her in December, a couple of days before my birthday, saying it's been a long time, we should get lunch, etc. And they went back and forth that day before she let him know that she was leaving town to see family. So they agreed to wait until after the new year. And sure enough, a few days after the new year, on the day that I had left town with our toddler to go throw my sister's baby shower, he reached out to her and they went to lunch. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you can't even go on any further to this poor lady. Like, what do you guys think? You guys listening to this stream, put it in the comments, guys. Like, I would be done. I would be out of there. I'd be looking for a divorce. He's already promised you no more contact with this lady, and you see it right there that he's still contacting her and going to lunch with her. So, how can you trust this guy anymore? You know? But like I said, it's amazing when you love somebody or and you're in a marriage or whatever, how much shit you'll put up with to try to make it work, to try to, you know, even believe that it's your fault. Freaking sad. All right. So, and that's where the conversation ends. They agree on a place and time, and then the thread stops. So I don't know if the conversation continued. I assume it did. And if so, where she's blocked on his phone and social. So they could have just well agreed. They could have very well just agreed and then never gone or spoken again. But that seems naive. And more than likely, they talk via an email or a social account that I don't know about. Exactly. They probably set up some kind of a, you know, a Google Hangouts chat or a Snapchat or something like that where they're talking and you don't even know about it. Shonda says, yeah, when he came home earlier, my stuff and me would have been gone and his stuff would have been on the lawn. Exactly. Already, I would have been done. But it's easier, guys, it's really easy to say this kind of stuff when you're not the one in the marriage. You're not the one who has a bleeding heart that loves this guy with everything that you have. You know, in your heart, she probably believes this is the best man she ever met. I mean, 10 years of her life. She's 35. She's known him for 10 years. Very good chance this is the longest relationship she's ever had. And she loves him with all her heart. So when you're the one not stuck in the situation, it's really easy to say, oh, yeah, you should have left already. You know? But when you're the one that has that pounding heart beating his name every beat, you know, all you want to do is make it work out. You know, all you want him to do is stop cheating, stop seeing this girl. You know, you're going to blame her. You're going to say, oh, she's a whore. You know, you're going to blame her for all his infidelity. Oh, she's a whore. That's why she's doing it. You're going to come up with every excuse you can to not say goodbye because you don't want to leave this guy. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to, you know, you don't want to go through the real heartbreak of walking out or kicking him out or whatever. It's hard, guys. It's hard when you're in that situation. So anyway, she's wondering if maybe they have a social account she doesn't know about. I've always been reasonable and fair. I've never been the type to question female friendships, and he's never really had them, at least not to this level. And now I'm completely questioning myself. Am I being a nutcase? This is what I'm talking about, blaming yourself. Am I being a nutcase? Absolutely not. You know, but even if I was being unreasonably jealous about this friendship, I still feel like deliberately lying to your spouse and hiding things from them that they explicitly express an issue is totally wrong. Absolutely. She's absolutely right there. It is totally wrong. Even if it was just a friendship, even if it was nothing more than a friendship, but if it was really just a friendship, wouldn't this other lady have the respect for him to know that he's married and say, hey, we can't do this anymore? You know, if it was really a friendship, wouldn't he be honest with her about his wife not liking that they were talking and tell her, hey, we need to say goodbye? You know, it's more than just a friendship. I would say they probably had sex by this point. I mean, that's just what I'm thinking for sure. Rock and Roll says, no, I'm old fashioned and done it a few times. Cheat once, I'm done. Yes, it hurts, but I'd make her my ex. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I just don't think that he really ever understood how hurt I felt or how hard I feel when he seems to need this friendship when he barely even communicates with me. Exactly. And I've told him that. I also believe he's absolutely prioritized this person's feelings and needs over my own. And I don't want to let my thoughts run wild here, but I keep coming back to this question. Why are you lying so extensively about something that you say is so platonic? Exactly. He has lied to me in the past, not about cheating, but about something sensitive and pertaining to our sexual lives. And when that situation happened, I also had to literally drag the truth out of him bit by bit. And he would confidently tell me a lie, and then I would have the proof literally in my hands that he was lying. So now I'm just wondering, what the hell else is he lying about? And can I ever even trust this guy? I'm really looking for advice, reassurance, a gentle reality check, or shared experiences. I'm trying not to bring this up yet because we are leaving town tomorrow to stay with parents for a week, to stay with my parents for a week, and I don't know what else there is to say. There is a clear pattern of dishonesty and a total disregard for my feelings, our relationship, our household. I'm just so lost and hurt and angry. Too long didn't read. Husband has lied repeatedly about and deliberately hidden a friendship with a former female coworker, even after wife has expressed she's not comfortable with it, and he has agreed to end it. So, some of the comments from this is a post from, like I said, 6 days ago, guys. Some of the comments here that are getting voted up here, it looks like, I guess these get voted up, it looks like. He doesn't care about what you think of his relationship with her because you always forgive him. He knows that he can do whatever the hell he wants because you will give him another chance. He has no respect for you, and deep down, you know this. He's not afraid to lose you because he's certain you will never walk away, and you always give him another chance. Never let someone feel comfortable in disrespecting you. Never forget your own worth and value. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that comment. You've got to realize that if you're in this kind of situation out there, I don't care if you guys are married or in a relationship or whatever, and you're watching this, at some point, you've got to realize that if this person really loved you, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing to hurt you so much. If they know you're hurting, if they know that this is bugging you, and you've went to them repeatedly, kind of calmly asking them, hey, what's going on? Hey, I feel like something's wrong. And they continue to lie to you and point the finger at you and keep doing whatever it is they're doing when they know it's hurting you and ripping your heart out, they don't love you and they don't respect you. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. You are worth more than that. And you guys, you need to see your own value when you're in these relationships. These relationships are toxic, and you really, like this guy says, you shouldn't be just giving them chance after chance after chance after chance, or they're just going to lose respect for you. And you're going to your value to them is going to be lower and lower and lower every time you give them another chance. And trust me, I understand why you want to give more chances. I understand you just want to make it work. And when you're in a relationship like this, you feel like you just want to fight. You feel like, oh my God, I will fight for your love. I will fight for us. I will not back down. I will not leave you. I'm just going to fight. We're going to fight this out, and we're going to work this out, and we are going to be happy again. And it's all just a delusion. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And where this bullshit comes from, guys, I'm telling you where this bullshit comes from. This delusion we tell ourselves when we're fighting to hold on to these kind of relationships, it comes from the movies and the music and the entertainment industry that we watch. We continually watch these TV shows and these movies and stuff like that of these love stories where that's what they do. They fight it out and they argue and they bicker and they cry and they hold on and they never let go and they just keep giving each other chance after chance after chance after chance. And pretty soon the other person just, the light comes on and they just realize, no, this isn't the movies, guys. What we're reading here on Reddit is real life. And I kind of respect my friend who gave me this idea because this is pretty good. I mean, this has got me pretty emotional. Just thinking about past relationships in my life. And maybe it is for you guys as well. I said that we were going to stream for like 30 minutes to an hour. But I really want to see what her next post is because she updated this story just a few hours ago, I think. So let's go ahead and go back here, guys. Oh, a day ago. Yesterday, she put an update out. So she says, thanks to everyone who provided insight and helpful words to my previous post. I can only imagine that most of the posts on this. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat as well, guys. Let me put this story in the chat if you guys want to go read it or respond to it on your own or whatever. There is a link to the update. So if you guys want to go chime in with her, or give her your feedback, comment, or whatever, or just maybe read it yourself or share it with somebody else, you can do that with the link I've just provided in the chat. So she says, thanks to everybody who provided the insight and helpful words. The too long didn't read for those who didn't care to read it. So basically, yeah, she's fast forward 10 months, and I just discovered that he's contacted and seen her again as of several months ago. Yep. So I mentioned in my comments that we were able to just leave town for a week, and therefore I did not want to confront him and have our marriage implode at my parents' house. We were on our last day here, and frankly, I'm so glad I waited. This has given me a lot of time to really think about the situation, our marriage, and how I can realistically move forward from here. Also, did lots and lots of relative reading. Honestly, the biggest thing for me this week has been finally accepting that this was and is a case of emotional cheating. I would say emotional abuse. Or if in EA, emotional, yeah, or an EA, if you will. Short of trash talking me and discussing sex, which they could be very well doing and just hiding or deleting, this situation checks off at every single box under EA Playbook. And the biggest thing for me is that after the last time, I have been very clear that the next time would be the last of our marriage. We had discussed therapy after the incident last year and didn't go. I own my own part in that. I let life get busy and I didn't push for it. For the last year, I've struggled so much with what happened. It felt just as bad as when I'd been cheated on in the past. And I felt like I wasn't justified in feeling that way because he made me feel like I was crazy. And unwarranted jealousy. Yeah, anytime somebody's doing something like this, they're going to try to point the finger and make you feel like you're the fool. Oh, your stomach is going nuts because you can't trust anybody. You need to get, they'll even say things like, you need to get professional help. You are just way too jealous. They'll say you have unwarranted jealousy, you're crazy, etc. It's so messed up. And he made her feel wrong for snooping. I now fully know that it was pure gaslighting, minimizing, and manipulation, which is also tough for me to accept because he's otherwise not a terrible person. Yeah, a lot of good people. I do believe that a lot of good people can do this kind of stuff. They can be great in every other way, but they can definitely devalue you. And at some point, he's going to come back and he's going to kick himself in the ass for it. I can guarantee it. The big kicker for me this week was telling my sister. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist. She knows me better than anyone and will call me in my own shit if I'm being unreasonable. She's thoughtful, she's logical, and she knows my husband very well, so I knew could give me reasonable input. Her takeaways were, fuck him, lol. This is textbook emotional cheating, gaslighting, etc. This is also purely about him lying and is a choice that he made. If he felt the marriage was lacking, he could have chosen to communicate that as well. And he never told me that we had any issues. Fuck him again because it's an inattentive and unsupportive husband and father. And me and my husband have never said anything out of respect for you, but it pisses us the fuck off. And here, I always thought that I was ungrateful for expecting him to help more. As a professional, I will say that I've seen a million shit show marriages and anything can be saved if both people are truly willing to be honest and vulnerable to put in the work. And that only I could really know if I'm willing to put in that work or if he will actually be honest and hold himself accountable. So, after that talk with her sister, who is the professional, family psychologist and all that, after that talk and a lot of thinking all weekend, I know what I'm going to say when we get home. I'm not going to bother snooping anymore because it doesn't fucking matter. He knew the consequences and he went ahead and did it anyway. He hid it, he lied, and he even had the balls a month back to give me shit for having a hard time trusting him still. Yep, blaming her for not trusting him. After what he did, how can you expect her to trust you? You know what I'm saying? These people that do this most effed up shit and do all the cheating in these relationships, they always find ways to point the finger at the person that they're fucking over. Oh, you don't trust me. Oh, you're snooping. Oh, you don't trust people. Whatever. They find ways to excuse whatever the hell they're doing, and it's messed up. And it is emotional abuse. You know, it really is. It may not be intentional, like he may not be purposely emotionally abusing him, and he may genuinely love her to some degree, or at some level he may love his wife. But on some level here, he also doesn't love his wife, or he wouldn't be doing this to her. You know? Anyway, he can tell me everything if it makes him feel better, but it doesn't matter to me either way. I won't ever be able to trust him or look past the fact that he put someone else before me. That he did this while I've been at home raising our toddler with autism and taking care of everyone but myself because I didn't have enough support. I'm done with not feeling any empathy or affection, so I'm letting him know that our marriage is over for me, and all I'm interested in discussing is the best way for me to move forward for our toddler. Thanks again, Redditors. See you on the divorce sub. On the divorce sub from Reddit. Wow. Somebody says, before you do that, talk to a divorce lawyer. You've decided on divorce. It's happening. Talk to a lawyer first. Tell your husband that your lawyer tells you to tell your husband, because what you say can affect the custody case and how the estate is split. Yeah, very wise words there to talk to an attorney. 383 people chiming in on this. Yep. Want to get your financial ducks in a row, get statements. Yep. Money has a way of walking away when they think they're going to have to share it. Actually, the original poster, asset distribution, yep. But, I understand the finances and stuff like that can be tricky or whatever. Definitely a wise idea to talk to an attorney before you go through the divorce. Can't disagree with that, but you're doing the right thing. Whatever it is, don't let money or lack of money keep you from getting out of this toxic marriage. This guy, he doesn't respect you. He doesn't value you. And like you said yourself, he puts another coworker friend at a much higher value than he puts his own wife. So there it is, guys. I mean, what do you guys have to say? Be sure you comment. Let me know what you guys think. I think she's done the right thing by saying that she's going to get a divorce. This is what she said just yesterday, guys, that she's going to get a divorce. So hopefully we don't read something here in another week or two that, she decided to stay with him because she loves him and, she's wondering about this or that. Hopefully she's well on her way to getting that divorce that she needs to do. Not easy to get a divorce from somebody you love. This can't be easy to go through. But I can encourage you guys enough that if you guys are dating somebody and you guys are going through similar red flags, if somebody is making you jealous, basically, with their actions, and your stomach's going in knots all the time because things just don't feel right. If you found things like she has that kind of prove that the person's cheating on you or whatever, don't stick around, guys. Trust your gut instinct. If you have to, go snooping, find proof, whatever it is. You need to be happy. You need to be happy in life. You need to value yourself enough to realize that you deserve better. Love yourself. Love yourself, guys, in the end. And you can do it. You can be alone. You have the strength. Everybody is strong inside. You have the strength to walk away from a spouse, a husband, or a wife, or a girlfriend, or a boyfriend who doesn't value you. And if somebody is cheating on you and lying to you consistently, they don't value you. Walk away and never turn your head back around. Never look back at them, guys. Because they're just gonna, you know, suck you right back in and do the same thing to you again. I would like to know how it ended. Well, it hasn't ended yet, but it pretty much says she's going to get a divorce. That she's made up her mind that she's going to get divorced. Okay. So, I mean, this is really just what she said yesterday. So, hopefully she'll keep everybody posted, and we'll, you know, we'll see her update us here in the coming days or weeks. See how it's going. Yeah, pretty emotional story. I gotta say, guys, this one, the first little post that I read wasn't that dramatic or that interesting, but this one was pretty interesting. Yeah, nobody can love you if you don't love yourself. Absolutely rock and roll. I've heard that before too. I've heard people say, "Oh, I don't love myself," and they'll say, "Oh yeah, but I love you." No, you can't love me if you don't love yourself. Yeah, I had a pretty long relationship once where the gal told me that she wasn't happy and she didn't love herself. And I said, well, if you don't love yourself, how can you possibly love me? Because she told me 100 times a day that she loved me, you know. And she said, what? You telling me that you don't trust that I love you? You know, this is what I'm talking about. People always want to come back at you with this kind of stuff. You tell me you don't love yourself, and then you tell me you love me. And I'm just saying you can't possibly love me if you can't even love yourself. And then they want to attack you and say, what, you don't trust that I don't love you? You don't trust me when I tell you I love you? That's exactly the words that I got, you know, directed at me. When somebody said, they said, I don't love myself directly. I said, do you love yourself? They're like, no. And I said, well, how can you possibly love me and tell me 100 times a day that you love me when you don't even love yourself? And then they came back at me and said, well, are you telling me you don't trust me when I say I love you? This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's emotional abuse. Whether it's incidental, you know, whether they're really trying to do it or not, it's still emotional abuse. Whether they mean to be hurting you as much as they're hurting you, they probably don't even know. They're probably too absorbed in their own cheating or too absorbed in their own lies to even realize how much they're hurting you. And that's the sad fact. You know, they're so defensive and so in defense mode and so busy, you know, talking it up with this other person, like this guy here was talking it up with this other gal for, you know, 10 hours a day, that he couldn't even understand how much this was hurting his own wife. Happens all the time, guys. I'm just going to tell you guys, if you guys are in these kind of relationships, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be loved. And the more time you spend in a relationship like this, the less chance you're going to have for somebody who could really love you find you. So the right person that could be loving you might miss out on meeting you because you're too absorbed or too stuck into a relationship like this. Happens all the time, guys. So it is what it is. Hopefully I've helped somebody that might be in a relationship or in a marriage like this. And do the right thing, guys. You guys know deep down, a lot of times the hardest thing to do is the right move. The move that you dread the most, leaving, is the right move. So trust your gut instinct, guys. Trust your heart. Let your heart lead you in these situations. All right. Don't let yourself make excuses for the person. Don't blame yourself. No, don't blame yourself. If somebody was happy enough with you to marry you, if somebody was happy with you for months or years, and they were really, you believe they were really happy with you, and then they start cheating, that's on them. You know, that's 100% on them. Don't blame yourself for that. You know? And whatever you do, don't cheat on people. You know, stay faithful. When you commit to somebody, whether in a marriage or in a relationship, if you commit to somebody, you know if you've committed to them or not. Stay faithful. So you don't wind up in this guy's shoes. Because I guarantee you, this guy here that she's talking about, he's going to go back and kick his own ass one of these days. When he loses her, his wife is probably 10 times a woman than this coworker that he was talking to. I bet you anything, this wife he has is a 10 times better woman. And once he realizes, once she walks out and she files the divorce papers, he's going to realize what he lost. You know? And only then will he realize what he's lost. And then he's going to feel like a goddamn fool. He's made her a fool right now, but eventually he's going to realize that he's a fool for losing her. You know? Happens all the time, guys. It really does. But you deserve to be happy, guys. If you're watching this and you're in a relationship like this, realize you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be valued by a partner who values you enough to not lie, cheat, and point the finger at you when they do cheat. All right, guys. With that, if you're watching this video later, be sure you comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like my new ZaxoDrama, and if you guys want to see me continue this series where I go into these, I delve into Reddit and read. I'll probably always try to read posts that are posted within the last day or two, and give you guys my feelings, my thoughts, and what I think about it. Even though I'm not a psychologist or a counselor myself, I think I've been around this whole earth long enough and been in enough relationships myself where I can maybe give you guys some insight and, maybe ways to apply this to your own life or your own relationship. But let me know, guys, if you guys enjoy this series and if you guys want to see ZaxoDrama number 2. And if you guys comment down below, if I see you guys giving me likes, if I see you guys that like this video, we'll definitely continue this series. Getting a little emotional? Yeah, it can. I didn't think I would actually read something that actually made me feel so much sorrow for this poor lady. Yeah, I really feel a lot of empathy for her. I can't lie. Maybe you guys do too. Let me know down in the comments below, guys. Thanks so much for watching my ZaxoDrama number 1, my new series. And have a good one, guys. Have a good one, Shonda. Rock and Roll, thanks so much for being here. Tempo, thanks so much for being here. You guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you back here real soon, everybody. Take care.